Hey guys, welcome to the Introvert Dating Success Show. I'm your host as always, Harry Wilmington. This is the show where you go to learn how to date as your introverted self while still getting your precious alone time. So on today's show, we're going to be talking about how your diet can actually impact your dating success. And I thought about doing this show because there was a couple of guys that have written to me that watch my show, and they were saying how over the years they've had chronic pain, and they've noticed that when they were having these painful episodes, it was definitely affecting the ways in which they felt about themselves and about how they interacted with women that they were attracted to. And so I mentioned that I've never had really chronic pain like that, but I have observed that sometimes, depending on the things that I'm consuming, whether it's things I'm eating or drinking, I have noticed that those things can have an impact on how I feel about myself and how I'm treating others, depending on the health level of the foods that I'm eating. And it's a subject that I don't think a lot of guys are completely aware of. Like, I don't think a lot of guys are aware of just how much the things that you're eating and drinking and putting into your body have an effect on your success in the dating world. Now, obviously, on this show, I talk a lot about the various techniques you can learn and how to be less anxious and how to relate more to women. But there are other facets outside of your lack of knowledge that could also be hindering you in the dating process. One of those things being the stuff that you're putting into your body. And so today I wanted to talk about that. I want to talk about the ins and outs of like how health has an impact on your success at relationships, how those things interact with your body and the results, and what you as a guy can do in order to start to monitor what things are having a negative effect on your health, so that way you will be healthier, and by default of that, be able to connect with women on a deeper level. All right. So we're going to talk about all of that. Plus, guys, if you guys have any comments about this particular topic during the course of this part of the show, please leave them in the chat. If you have any questions that don't relate to this topic, you can leave them in the chat today and I will just answer them. So there's no need to leave a super chat, although you always should, because I got a lot of years of knowledge that's worth paying for, but you can just ask your question today and I'll be happy to answer that. All right. And of course, the show is brought to you by introvertdatingsuccess.com. You can go there to check out my ebooks, audiobooks, programs, and my Introvert Dating Success Academy community, which I will talk about extensively at the end of this show. All right. So with that said, you know what? I forgot to get my water. I'm thirsty. And I forgot my water. So I'm going to let you guys watch this real quick while I go get some water. Hey guys, Harry Wilmington here. And I just want to tell you really quickly about some of the awesome ebooks that I have available at the website. So to start off with, we have my brand new book, Stop Losing Women, which is based off of my previous podcast. And it's over 284 pages of life-changing advice for your dating life. You're going to discover in the span of these pages the ins and outs of how to become more confident, the do's and don'ts of how to attract women, how to pace yourself during the dating process, and ultimately what it truly takes for you to be a more confident dater, so that way you can get out there, attract women, and more importantly, stop losing women, okay? The other ebook that I have on my website is called No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams. This is the first book that I ever wrote, and simply put, it is a 12-chapter masterpiece that is designed to, in a very funny way, mind you, guide you through the ins and outs of why all the things you're trying to do right now to attract women can actually cause you to lose them. I mean, things like being the nice guy, overextending yourself, getting too many gifts, too many compliments, and a variety of other things that you may think as a guy I should be doing. This funny book's going to help you figure out once for all why you should not do those things and how to better yourself instead. So be sure to check that book out as well. The other book that's been very popular at my website is called Texting Like a Boss. This is where, for all you guys out there that have problems texting women or don't understand why she starts off so chummy in the terms of the texting things, and then she starts to kind of go away and you can't figure out what's going on or why, or you're not an efficient enough texter to be able to actually get dates by way of texting. Well, this book is going to give you 21 do's and don'ts that are tried, true, and tested, so that way you can get the results that you want with women when you're texting them, and ultimately not do the wrong things that are going to cause her to eventually ghost you in the texting realm. All right. So check that book out at the website. Lastly, my other popular book that I have there is called 10 Steps to Winning Back Your Ex, the step-by-step, no-nonsense guide to reconnecting with an old flame, regardless of who ended the relationship. And so for you guys that are like, hey, I think I lost a great one, and she left me and I want to get her back. Or you might have been the guy that's like, hey, I dumped her and then I realized I made a mistake and I want to get her back. Well, this book covers both of those scenarios in a very detailed step-by-step way that is designed to allow you to figure out what you did wrong, how you can show up better, and the sequence of events you need to go through in order to effectively win back the woman that you are no longer with. So if these things sound like things that'll be helpful to you, then definitely go to introvertdatingsuccess.com, click on the products tab, where you can find a summary of all these books as well as my various programs, and they will be more than happy in helping you figure out whatever part of the dating journey you're on, so that way you will not be confused and you will ultimately be able to have the dating life that you want. So check those out at the website today. And we're back. Got my water and watermelon. Love a good watermelon. You know, what's funny is that I'm a very snacky person. And so I would find myself around my apartment just trying to find things to snack on. And I would go to the store and I would buy cookies and I would buy like Ritz crackers and I would buy chips and just all these like, you know, very solid on the shelf type of snacks, right? And then I realized that ultimately as I'm getting older, snacking on all these things on a consistent basis probably isn't like the best thing. So I started getting fruits instead. So now I got like bananas, I got watermelon, I got vegetables, I got carrots and hummus. I got all these things because I just realized that in the long term, these snacks weren't going to be the best for me to get. And so that's why I started doing that. But more importantly, this also then relates to what we're going to talk about today, which is about how your diet impacts your dating success. So let's get into it. So like I said earlier, obviously, you know, when I was talking to the guys about their chronic pain, they were saying that affects their mood and affects, you know, their ability to want to talk to women and stuff like that. And I realized that, yeah, I started to become very, very observant in my late 20s about there being a correlation between the kinds of foods and snacks that I was consuming and then how I felt about myself and how I felt about going out there into the world, how anxious I was, and the kind of mood that I was in. And then I noticed that, you know, when I'm around other people, if I've had certain foods or whatever, like earlier in the day, I would find later on in the day that I would be in some kind of mood where I wanted to be more alone. Everything somebody said to me was just absolutely annoying the crap out of me. And I couldn't figure that out. And then I started to notice that when I ate certain things, a few hours later, I would feel weird. And then I just started observing like, okay, what are the things that's causing that to happen? And it turns out, surprise, surprise, the things that are like bad for us to eat and drink are typically the things that are causing those, right? But I bring this up because I became cognizant of that at a very late age. I mean, late 20s is pretty late to start making correlations between like food, diet, and then how you feel, how you treat others, your mood and stuff like that. And I started to observe that a lot of relationship problems boil down to, aside from like not knowing how to treat women, not knowing how to talk to them, but a lot of problems that people have in their relationships, if you really study up, it correlates to something they ate, a bad diet, or something they drank. So, for example, the number of messages I've gotten over the years from guys that have been like, well, I have an issue with my girl. We went out one night, we had a few drinks, and next thing I know, we're in an argument. And somehow they have not made the correlation that, you know, it could be made that whatever they argued about, maybe he said something that was out of pocket or she said something or they weren't treating each other the right way. But the nucleus for that was they were drinking. Alcohol is a stimulant that is known to cause you to be more depressed and cause you to be a bit more moody. So whereby something that your girl might have said to you when you weren't having alcohol becomes a huge freaking deal because you now have alcohol inside your system, all right? You got to look at the fact that there are people that, you know, eat junk food all day and are really overweight. Well, being overweight causes, I think it's like your cortisol levels or something in your body. It causes a chemical in your body to be there more that causes you to be more depressed. It causes you to be more irritable. And so is it any wonder that you as a bigger person could potentially be more irritable and be a lot meaner to the person that you're with than if you ate a little bit healthier, you know? And so people don't see that stuff. Like people will go to like therapy and go to marriage counseling and be talking about, well, my problem is they don't pay attention. They don't listen to this and that. But nobody ever goes to therapy and says, you know what? I think my husband or my significant other is moody because he eats badly, because people don't even like have that in their brain to think about, are the things that we as a couple are eating causing us to be moody or misdiagnose things that are happening in the relationship. And so I think it's important to talk about, because again, it's not the sexiest thing you can do to change your dating life. Like, it's not like, you know, learning how to say certain things or certain techniques. This is something that is going to be personal, because it means you have to do the job of being able to say to yourself, wait a minute, my diet is off track and I got to change that. Food is a very, very hard thing to change because it hits at our pleasure centers, especially things like sugars and, you know, sweets and stuff like that. Like, those are the things that they hit at us. And, you know, everything from like the texture of food to like the crunch of a chip. You know, companies like scientifically engineer what the sound of a chip will sound like and the texture of how it'll feel in your mouth, so that way you will become addicted to it and not want to eat just one. It's very purposeful, and those same foods could be totally wrecking your dating life. And I want to talk about why that is. So to start off with, here are the things that eating badly can do, all right? For one thing, they can mess up your energy levels. There are foods, you know, the whole thing of eating like a lot of sweet stuff, for example, it can cause you to have a sugar rush that can then cause you to crash down to earth later on with your energy. It can cause you to have mood swings. It can cause physical appearance changes, both like in the elasticity of your skin, as well as obviously like your weight, your stomach, stuff like that. It can cause you to have less mental clarity. You know, eating the wrong things over time, it can cause you to have brain fog, which makes it harder to make decisions and communicate clearly. Your sleep quality. Eating the wrong foods can cause your sleep to be messed up. If you're drinking a lot of coffee, for example, you've got a bunch of caffeine in your system, and that might be correlating with you not being able to sleep well, you possibly snoring throughout the course of the night, which is going to leave you moody in the morning. So that way, when you deal with your partner, they're going to be like, oh my God, this guy's always so moody. And it could be because your sleep pattern's being messed up by way of how your diet is. Stress management. There are certain foods that can increase your stress levels, which can actually make it harder to be able to handle challenges that come up in the relationship. So you could be freaking out and panicking about things that don't need to be, simply because your stress is out of whack because of the food you're eating. Your confidence levels. Your food can interact with how confident you feel about yourself and your ability to communicate with your significant other, and that's going to have an impact. And then, of course, your long-term health. The longer you eat badly, the more likely it is you're going to develop health problems, which now cause physical stress, financial stress, which can lead to fights, which can lead to you not being to interact well with the person that you're with. Like, so again, all these things are just small examples of the ways that food can have a serious impact on your health. Now, what I'm going to do is go over some examples of foods that can actually affect your health. And these are like food categories. I'm not gonna be like, oh, like every single day, these little foods. But the reality is there are certain categories of food that have an effect on you. So I'm gonna go over what the foods are, and I'm gonna talk about what the effects those foods actually have. Because you might be haphazardly thinking you're eating the best stuff, or you're thinking a little snack here and there won't hurt me. And I just know, like I said, I went through the exercise of I'd be eating a thing, I would notice later that my energy would drop, or I'd get moody or upset about something. And I start looking at, wait a minute, okay, realistically, what did I have today that could potentially be causing me to have this reaction in my body? Before I think about this person said something to me, or I'm just suddenly just out of energy, what things did I eat? And I start to realize, as I go through this list, you'll see how these things have such a dynamic effect on your ability to be in a relationship, to talk to somebody, to not have a mood swing. To start off with, you have your processed foods. So these are foods like your pizzas, your fast foods, your microwave meals, the stuff that's like, it's very quickly processed, not a lot of nutrients in it. The effect that these can have on your body is that, unfortunately, most of those kind of foods are very high in unhealthy fats. They have a lot of sugar. Like for pizza, just a pizza, for example, right? You have the bread, which has sugar in it. Most of the time, pizza sauce has a lot of sugar in it. And then you have your foods on top, which may not have a lot of sugar necessarily, but some of them do. And ultimately, you have cheese also, which, yes, cheese also can have sugar in it. All that stuff is correlating to you're eating a massive amount of sugar in one sitting. Is it any wonder that you could then have a variety of symptoms? You can have inflammation, you can have mood swings, and you can have energy crashes as a result of eating processed foods. So think about those things, right? You're feeling inflamed, which means now you have pain going on inside of your body. And now you're trying to relate to this hot chick that you just had pizza dinner with, and suddenly you get home and you realize you're tired and not in the mood, or you went from like being happy to see her early in the evening to now you're like tired and exhausted, but you can't figure out why. And now you're like, I wish this chick would just go home. And and if you're thinking, you're like, but I wanted her here earlier, what changed? You're thinking she got annoying during the course of the date, and maybe she did. But also you had a dinner that was with processed food, and now your body's reacting in a way where it just wants to be left alone, and you're trying to get rid of this chick as fast as possible. That is a very real possibility when you are eating processed foods. Okay, another type of food that can affect your health is refined carbohydrates. These are things like white bread, Ritz crackers, and pastries. I am a huge fan of Ritz crackers. I could eat it with just about any kind of soup. I love putting peanut butter on it and some jelly and eating it as a snack. It's amazing. But I found, again, just through trial and error, that if I ate like 10 Ritz crackers, right, after about 30 minutes, like clockwork, I would start to get tired and couldn't figure out why. I just knew that I ate Ritz crackers, I get tired. I ate Ritz crackers, suddenly I feel myself being a little agitated by the smallest things, And I love Ritz crackers. I had to stop eating Ritz crackers because as much as I liked them, what I didn't like was the effects that I realized were happening every time I ate them. But why was that? So with refined carbohydrates, these are things that can cause rapid spikes in blood sugar followed by crashes. So again, I'm eating a Ritz cracker. This is so great. This is so great. Have a little bit of energy. And all of a sudden, boom, it's nap time. Like clockwork. And so it can cause, the crashes of energy, which lead, of course, to irritability, leads to fatigue. And then more importantly, those snacks, they're not all fulfilling. So it makes you want to eat more snacks. Like, it's not like I could just eat one Ritz cracker and call it a day, or eat 5 Ritz crackers. I could literally eat an entire sleeve of Ritz crackers, and when I'm done, be like, I'm still hungry, because they're not anything that's fulfilling. This watermelon right here, I can eat like several of these. A whole cup of these only equal 45 calories. I can eat 2 cups of watermelon and then be done in terms of snacking and feel fulfilled. Man. Watermelon's in season this year, guys. It's delicious. So yeah. So I very much have tried to limit my white bread. I love eating pastries. I love baked goods. I love apple pies. I love cinnamon rolls. But again, as I've gotten older, I've just realized as much as I like those snacks, I cannot be eating them on a day-to-day basis because they will make me tired and moody all the time. Like, I had a period of time where I was eating baked goods like every day. If you guys go and look back at my videos in 2020, I was at like 193 pounds. So I was visually bigger than I am now. And even now, I'm at 178-ish. I'm trying to get back down to like the 160s, but it's noticeable because I was eating, it was during the pandemic, I was eating baked goods like every day. And I had to look at myself one day like, oh, snap, you gotta stop eating the cookies, dude, what's going on? But again, refined carbohydrates will do that to you, okay? And so you're thinking these women are irritating you, or you're with your girl and all of a sudden it's like you ate some crackers or some bread and all of a sudden you're thinking like, why is she suddenly annoying the crap out of me? And it's like, it could very well be your body having a reaction to all these foods that you're eating. Anyway, we have a comment in the chat that says, could you talk about stress, hydration, sleep, etc., how it affects every aspect of your life? Well, that is definitely going to be part of this conversation. But I will say this, is that if we're relating this to food, right? You eating the wrong foods. your body's going to have a reaction to everything you put inside of it. And so some of the foods or drinks that you're putting inside yourself are going to cause depression, are going to cause anxiety, are going to cause stress. All right. And so you could have a woman that has a super duper high interest level. I'm talking like it's in the 90%, which Doc Love used to always say, you want to get a woman's interest in you to 90% or higher because that's where you can do no wrong. But that does not mean that she can't get taken out of the 90% zone if you aren't holding up your end of the bargain. And so as you're eating the wrong things, you may start to experience more stress. You may be sleeping a lot less, which is making you more tired and irritable during the day. And so when you're not able to get these things in a right balance, yeah, it's going to affect all aspects of your life. It's going to affect your ability to be able to work a certain way. It's going to affect your ability to relate to other people. Because if you're stressed out, tired, and annoyed all the time, then you're going to become that guy that other people don't want to be around. And that is to your detriment. And again, people aren't aware that a lot of this has to deal with their diet. They're thinking, oh, I just had a bad day, or oh, just, something came up or whatever. Oh, I'm just suddenly moody for no reason. It's rarely ever that you're moody for no reason. Either somebody annoyed the crap out of you, and that is a reason, or unbeknownst to you, you have a poor diet. Maybe you're overweight. Maybe you're not overweight. You can be fit, look fit, and still be eating all the wrong stuff and still have all these various effects. And so these are the things that are now affecting you and you're not aware of it. So I'm just trying to give you guys in this show another aspect to consider as it pertains to the things that are affecting you and your relationships. Yes, again, it's good if you know how to do conflict resolution. It's good if you know how to talk to women, but none of that's going to matter if your diet is causing you to be anxious, nervous, moody, have an attitude with people, be fatigued all the time. Like your diet really could be, look, there are people that probably would have worked out in the long term if they weren't drinking the wrong stuff all the time. If they weren't, obese and overweight and that results in them causing to fight each other all the time. Like people get out of relationships for dumb reasons. For me, diet is like one of the dumbest reasons. Like all you had to do was put down the alcohol and eat a carrot and you could have probably like had a better attitude towards your wife. Like that's some seemingly super simple stuff that people should be able to do. But again, our bodies, we get addicted to certain foods, addicted to certain chemicals and things that they put into these foods. And if you're not careful, you can get addicted. I know people, for example, that they've been addicted to like sodas their entire lives. And as much as they try to get rid of it, I had a friend that really had some serious health issues. And, as part of him trying to get rid of those health issues, he gave up soda for like a little bit. But then he started to feel a little bit better and started adding soda back into his diet. And like sodas can cause holes and stuff and ulcers to form in your stomach. But it's just, these things are so addictive that we end up not being able to give them up as easily as we'd like to. Hey, even me, like I said, I love a good baked good. And as much as I've been like, I'm going to try to curtail that, I still like my onions, pretzels. I still like my cinnamon rolls. Like it's been very, very hard to cut down on that stuff because of the things that they put into it. But you just being cognizant of that, you can start to be mindful of, okay, I understand that I'm feeling these things because of this. And so I need to figure out what to do better to make sure that I'm not unintentionally like showing out or yelling at somebody for something that they did when really it's just, I was in a bad mood because of something that I ate, So just another thing to put into your brain to consider. So another type of food that, we just talked about this, that is, that can cause you to have negative responses, sugary foods and drinks. So these are your sodas, your candies, your desserts. These are things that are out there in mass quantities. And unfortunately, we talked about sugar spikes, but taking in this excess sugar can very much lead to things like mood swings, obviously weight gain, as well as increased inflammation. I used to date a woman, and there's several women out there that they have this endometriosis, whereby they have like these things inside their stomach that basically make it hard for them to get pregnant. And it's like a bunch of like ulcers and stuff that are like causing them a lot of pain internally, And so when I was dating her, one of the things she said was that her doctor was like, you need to cut out certain foods because if you cut out certain foods, they won't cause inflammation. One of those being sugary foods and drinks. And unfortunately, she started to lose some weight, but it was still very hard for her to like give up some of those foods because again, they're everywhere. But think about that, guy. Think about the fact that sugary foods and drinks can be causing you to have inflammation, They can cause you to get ulcers, especially like I said, things like sodas can cause you to get ulcers and whatnot. And so again, these things are going to have an effect on the way that you are showing up to women. So you're trying to be a cool, calm, collected, and cordial guy, but you're going out there with a scowl on your face and you're moody and you're upset and you're thinking, this is just my personality. And it could be, or it could be that that's your personality because your diet is having a say in how you're showing up and how you're feeling about yourself based on the various chemical reactions that they're causing. Another one, big one, alcohol, beer, wine, spirits. You get the idea. Alcohol is a depressant. So some of you guys out there are having fights with women and are feeling down on yourself and not being aware of it. I will tell you a true story from like last week. I don't drink a lot. Like I know that drinking alcohol can cause me to feel down on myself and annoyed with people and upset and tired. And I got stuff to do. I'm not trying to be tired all day, right? But last week, I'm working on a company with building their website, right? And so while I was having a meeting about what their website looked like, there was another person that came in from another room. It was like, hey, we have some people here today that are sampling some wines. Do you want to try one? And it was like this odd flavored wine that I'd never heard of before. And I said, you know what? I'm not a big wine drinker. I will just try some. So I literally had maybe twice this watermelons, maybe I love having props, like maybe this much wine, right? Even with that amount of wine, I went home, I could feel like, I'm kind of annoyed right now. Like, crap, it happened again. Not even that much alcohol. So think about the fact that this, guys, you're going out with women, you're thinking, oh man, I want to go on a date. I want to take her out for drinks. And you're thinking it's going to be good because you've heard alcohol is an aphrodisiac. When women drink it, they get a little loose. And that is true. So the opening effects of alcohol could be you feel more uninhibited, you're more open, you're willing to make a fool of yourself, you're more courage, or whatever, this and that, right? But that's like the short-term effect. Now look at the number of times you've gone out where you and your lady had a drink. The next thing you know, she's irritable, you're irritable, you're having a conversation in the car, and all of a sudden she says something, or you say something, and she takes it the wrong way, and then you take her response the wrong way, or you take it to the nth degree where it shouldn't be, and now you guys are fighting and bickering, and what was going to be a guaranteed night of a hookup turns into you guys don't want to talk to each other because she said something, and he missed this and that, and you're thinking it was because of what was brought up in the conversation. And y'all drank 2 hours before that conversation, not being aware that this was going to be an effect, because alcohol will always have some kind of effect on your body and what you're doing, whether you get a little more tired, whether you get a little loose and lightheaded, whether you can't think straight about things. Like alcohol, I believe, is such a big proponent of people not being able to be in their right head that I am very much for, when you go on those first few dates, do not drink. I've been on dates where the girl I'm with, she'll want a drink, she'll want some wine or a margarita, and I am happy to get her that drink. I do not feel as though I have to drink just because she's drinking. Funny enough, I've also found that because I'm not a big drinker, the women that I date magically become women that don't want to drink a lot either because they're following my lead. But my lead is a positive one because I know that I don't want to fight her. And I don't want to be drinking things that are cause me to be in a mood where I now want to fight her. Okay, so consider that alcohol is going to be that thing. It's a depressant by nature. On top of it can cause you to have bad sleep. It can cause dehydration. It can cause you to make worse decisions about things. Like we've all had the experience of drinking something and then, I drank something and I said this thing or thought about this thing and it was a mistake of mine. Alcohol is not really good in general. So I recommend staying away. Now, if you're a person that thinks you can tolerate or do whatever, or you have you're a low level drinker, hey, I'm just telling you what I found it did for me, which is why I don't drink it all that much. You might disagree, but just start to make observations of, I drank this thing and then I felt this. I drank this thing and then this thing happened, and see if there's any correlation. If there is, consider cutting back. Another food or type of food that can be harmful is high sodium foods. That's your chips, your canned soups, your processed meats. These are things that with sodium, it can cause you to have water retention and it can cause you to bloat, which can make you get a little bigger around the mid-poach here. It can make you feel sluggish. It can make you feel uncomfortable. And all that stuff's going to result in your mood and your energy also being affected. So you want to kind of cut back on the amount of sodium or salt that is inside of your foods. And it's tricky because some stuff you won't even recognize. Like, you know, you may eat some Chinese food or whatever, all that soy sauce in there, that is nothing but sodium. You are going to probably feel some kind of after effects. I know as much as I love Chinese food, for example, I find after I eat the fried rice, I'm generally tired, a little exhausted, want to be left alone a little bit. And so again, as much as I love it, it's one of those things that I'll eat it sporadically, and I'll usually eat it closer to nighttime because I'm not trying to like be moody all day long by eating it for lunch. You know what I mean? Another thing, trans fats, things like fried foods, certain margarines, or baked goods that have like hydrogenated oils and stuff like that. Trans fats are things that will also increase inflammation, and they've also been shown to increase your risk of moods and depression. All right. And so again, the goal is when you're picking out foods, this is why it's important to start reading ingredients, because you may not be aware that some of these things are being snuck into your food. And so you're thinking, oh, this is a trans fat, or oh, this is not a big deal. Again, everything you put into your body is going to have a reaction of some kind. The question is it going to be a positive reaction or a negative reaction? And we're trying to get rid of the negative stuff because, again, you may be unaware, this is actually having an effect on your ability to connect with women, to have a good attitude around them, to have a positive viewpoint of them, and to make the right decisions when you're trying to date them. So good. Another food that can have an effect, or type of food or whatever, is caffeine. So obviously, your coffees, your energy drinks, as well as certain teas. A lot of teas, you got to read the packaging, because a lot of these teas out there actually have caffeine, and you may not be aware of it until you if you look on the box, you're like, oh, snap, that Rose Lipton tea had caffeine. Yes, a lot of teas also have caffeine. And so with caffeine, the idea behind caffeine is that it's supposed to cause you to stay awake and make you more alert. Fantastic. But again, you got to look at not the initial reactions you get, which is usually going to be a positive, but look at like the long term. Caffeine can cause you to have jitterness. It can cause you to be anxious. So you're thinking, I'm gonna drink this coffee and be awake, but it can be causing you to be anxious to the point where, if you were ponder that, like, you know, you're in your head about, oh my God, what's this girl gonna say to me when I say this thing? Or can I ask her on a date? What's she gonna say? And these are the 14 million possibilities that can happen if I do this, and that. Understand, got to look at, are you drinking excessive caffeine? Because that can actually heighten the amount of anxiousness you have. And if you're already anxious about trying to ask women out, the last thing you need to be taking inside of you is something that's going to make you more anxious. Also with caffeine, obviously, if it's keeping you awake, it can cause sleep disturbances, which can also lead to, say it with me, guys, more irritability. So again, you're looking at something that's supposed to seemingly be helpful, but if you're going to be more irritable as a result of drinking it, that can lead to strained relationships, especially with the person that you're trying to get to know or try to date. And then we also have artificial sweeteners. So that's, again, your diet sodas, your sugar-free gums, your low-calorie snacks. I know that artificial sweeteners are supposed to be better for you than standard sugar, but I'll just be real. A lot of those things have chemicals in them that can affect your gut health. So I don't know about you, but if you're on the toilet all the time as a result of artificial sweetener, that's probably not going to make you too happy either, you know? On top of like you having digestive issues, which can all again result in more mood changes. All these things if these things are consistently badly happening to your body, you're going to be in a bad mood regardless, okay? And so again, we don't want you in a bad mood as a result of your diet. Then we have my personal favorite, dairy products, because I am lactose intolerant. I have been allergic to milk, dairy, yogurt, butters my entire life. And even now, I didn't find out till later on, like I was dumb, okay? I don't know why I didn't think that butter was made from milk. I found that out later in life, but growing up, anytime I would have butter, my mouth would just break out. And so I didn't realize that until like my mid-20s, people, that, oh snap, butter is causing me to have a reaction. That's not good. But suffice to say, like dairy in general, your milk, your cheeses, your yogurts, these are things that, especially if you have a sensitivity to them, they can cause discomfort, bloating, and really bad skin issues, all right? And so, of course, that's going to affect your ability to want to go out in public and show yourself. You got bad skin, you're going to be embarrassed by showing yourself to women. Not a good time. And then they have red meats in excess, okay? So you don't want to get into the habit of eating like red meat for dinner every single day. You know, this is your steaks, burgers, processed sausages, because these things, they can contribute to inflammation and digestive issues, as well as increased risk of chronic diseases, which again, all that combined can affect your mood and how you're showing up, right? So suffice to say, you can see that the foods that you eat, they come into your body, they interact with your pleasure centers, they interact with your gut, they interact with your bloodstream. And so everything you're putting in is going to have an effect of some kind. But the question again is, are they positive or negative? Now, am I saying completely get rid of all this stuff? I would never say that, because ultimately everybody's different. You need to know your body. But the thing is this, right now, you may not know your body. You may not be aware or have made a correlation yet of you eat pizza, you eat Ritz crackers, and then a few hours later, you feel like this. You're reacting to a woman like this. You're wanting to suddenly be annoyed and feel more to yourself because of this. Like, it's very hard to make those correlations if you haven't been studying yourself for a long time. So how is it that you can become more efficient and effective in your ability to know what foods are going to affect you in a negative way and impact your ability to have a relationship? Because here's the thing, guy. The thing is this, is that you're going to be taking out women, and inevitably, you're going to eat with them. You're going to take them out to a restaurant. They're going to invite you to their place to cook, or you're going to invite them to your place to cook. And I need you as the guy to be hyper aware about the effects that food can have on things like your mood, your health, etc. Because again, women are looking for us to lead the relationship. I found the times that I've changed my diet to eat better stuff, the women that I've dated have also then followed suit, all right? But understand also that most women aren't even aware that the things they're eating affects how they feel about themselves and affects how they move about in the world. So think about this, right? If you're not aware that the foods that people intake can affect their mood or how they act, you could be dating a woman that is always anxious and is always moody. And you may not ever know why. But now, knowing this, she could be crazy. She could have a traumatic past. All that stuff is very, very true. But also, you might go over her house one day and notice she's eating nothing but noodles. She's eating it with a soda and with some Ritz crackers, right? And then later on that night, you guys are talking about something, get into a fight. You can look at her and be like, hey, so just curious, have you ever made a correlation between like what we eat and like how we react to things? Because babe, I noticed that when I eat a lot of pizza, I get moody and I don't want to listen to you as much. But I'm kind of noticing tonight you ate this thing, and then later on, this thing that you normally don't get annoyed at, you got annoyed at. Have you ever considered that there's a correlation? Because women, they know that, food affects how big they are. That's it. They don't really know about how being that big also affects their mood and how they get angry or nervous all the time, whatever this and that. And they may have never had it pointed out to them. And so, when I'm dating women, I point that out. I'll be like, hey, I noticed, I say it in reference to myself because I don't want to directly call them out. But I find that talking about myself in this matter helps them to start noticing things also. So I'll say like, hey, babe, I just noticed that, when I eat Ritz crackers, I get tired, and then I eat, and the next thing I know, I'm getting moody and I don't want you around as much. And I hate that because I love being around you, but I just noticed I got to stop eating these Ritz crackers because, man, it makes me feel like I don't want to be around anybody. And then I'll be like, have you ever noticed that about any of the foods or drinks that you eat? Like, have you ever made a correlation between like, maybe you drink this thing or eat this thing and then you feel weird later? Every woman across the board has been like, you know what? I've noticed that I eat this thing and then this happens, or I feel bloated when I do this thing. And then that starts a conversation about, oh, okay, so what can we do as a couple to make sure that we're having the best possible reactions around each other? And it starts with the foods we're eating. What can we be eating better so that way we're able to remain the lovey-dovey people that we want to be? Because again, they're not going to notice this. And up to this point, you probably haven't noticed it either. But now that you have, it is your job to know going forth that anytime a fight's about to happen over nothing, start looking back at like, okay, what did I eat today? What did she eat today? What can we do? So with that said, let's go into, that's just a small example, but let's go into what are ways you can do to combat this, right? So to start off with, number one, start keeping a food diary. I kid you not. Like for the next 2 weeks, write down every single thing that you eat each day and every single thing that you drink each day, all right? And then go about your day and make observations about what kind of moods were you in that day. For example, let's say for breakfast, you had an egg sandwich, which is bread, and you had like a smoothie, which has like a lot of sugar in it, right? So you eat that, and then you eat your lunch or dinner, and then think back on the day, think about, okay, or even just during the course of your day. If you notice yourself being irritable, say, I recognize that right now I feel irritable, and let me see what that's about. Did this other person say something to me that was irritable? That could have been a thing, okay? Now also, what did I eat this morning? Did I have anything that was too sugary or had too many carbohydrates? Okay, and then over the course of 2 weeks, you'll be able to see how much of your mood was tied into potentially some of the negative things that you ate earlier in the day. I promise you, it is an eye-opening exercise that will start to get you to see, oh snap, I get really moody when I eat this. Oh my God, I get more anxious around women when I'm drinking this. Oh my God, I didn't know that having this big meal made me so tired that I said I was gonna go do cold approaches or go approach women, and instead I just stayed home and beat myself up for not being able to get women. Like, you will start to see that because you'll have it written in front of you to be able to see in a real context and something that's tangible, you know? So that's the first thing. The second thing is you have to do what's called an elimination diet. So what this means this, right? What I noticed is that, let's say, for example, I started to get the feeling that Ritz crackers were causing me to be tired and moody. So what I would do is I would forego eating any Ritz crackers for like 2 weeks, all right? And then I would observe if my mood changed as a result of not eating that thing. And then I would go and buy that thing from the store after 2 weeks, and I would try it again. And then I would see if that effect that I didn't want came back. I just found that happened for a lot of foods. Like, I noticed with pizza, I would eat pizza, and I still like pizza, so I don't deprive myself. I just know that when I eat pizza, I need to be left alone for at least 12 to 16 hours, because I know that I'm going to be in a mood where now I don't want people around, or that when people say things to me, I'm going to be irritated and it's not that person's fault. So I would I'll get a pizza, I would eat it, and then be like, okay, so I notice I now feel tired and moody. Okay, great. So at this point, you have a decision to make. Do you want to completely get rid of that food? Do you want to bring it in sporadically? I know for me, like, I don't drink a whole lot, but let's say I'm dating somebody and they're going out of town for like 3 days. That is now my time to, if I want to taste a new drink or try a drink at the bar I haven't tried, to go there and drink that thing, knowing full well that when I go home, I'm not going to be dealing with anybody for at least another day or two. So that gives the alcohol time to rush out of my system and get any kind of tiredness or moodiness that I would have had out before I'm around other people, okay? But it's important because, again, you know, if these foods are causing you to have an effect, it is not your partner's fault, and it's not their job to be your punching bag simply because you're moody off of foods that you ate or drank that are causing this, okay? But that starts with knowing what those things are. So you can do it one food at a time. Like, I did it with Ritz crackers, I did it with pizza, I did it with some other foods, I did it with a couple of sweets, and then you'll start to see, okay, this food has more of an effect than this one does. This one doesn't have much of an effect at all, so that's good. And you'll start to get an idea of what foods potentially to eat less of if you want to have a better mood around your partner. Another thing, listen to your body. So again, you want to eliminate stuff and test stuff out, but this starts with really, guys, you got to start paying more attention to your body. Sometimes we get absent-minded and we're not always self-aware of how the things we're putting into ourselves is resulting in us having certain actions, but you got to do the job of paying attention to when you eat a thing, is there an effect later? Again, this starts with being more self-aware. The more self-aware you can become about what you're putting into your body and the effects that it's having, it's only going to pay off positive dividends, whether you're with somebody or not, because you might be the guy that's like, I want to pregame before I go out with my friends. Wait a minute. If I pregame and then I go out later, I already know I'm going to be annoyed, I'm going to be moody, I'm going to be fighting my friends to go home. So maybe not pregame and see what happens. Oh, look, I want to stay out longer. So that's all I'm saying, is just listen to your body more, because it's going to provide you clues, if you're listening, about the food sensitivities and intolerances that you have. But in addition to that, also get tested for food sensitivity. So you can get diagnosed by way of like blood tests or other diagnostic tests that will actually check your blood to see what kind of food allergies you have, what kind of intolerances that you have, and what kind of sensitivities that you have, okay? When you do that, you'll be able to know better what kind of foods, for example, are causing you inflammation. You know, like I said, with women that have endometriosis, oftentimes they'll go to the doctor and they'll be like, oh yeah, so you have this thing. So these are things that you should not eat because it's going to cause you to get ulcers and whatnot. And also, fun enough, with endometriosis, like it can affect women's ability to have kids. But they say to women, hey, if you eat better and drink better, then you will have less effects of that and you can have a baby a lot easier. And there have been women, like famously, Tia Mowry was a woman that had endometriosis. I know this because I have her cookbook. And I got a cookbook because I was trying to lose weight. And she was a woman that like ate better and was able to have 2 kids because she got she lessened her endometriosis because of the diet. And in her book, she has a great cookbook. Like, I know Tia gets a bad rap for like divorcing her husband, and I feel some kind of way about that. But her book is all about it has recipes in it for things that you can eat using substitute ingredients that won't cause inflammation. And that started with her getting tested for food sensitivities. So when you do that, you can say, okay, now if I want to eat certain sweets or eat certain things, I got to find substitutes that are not going to cause inflammation, but also because I'm not putting these negative things in my body, I'll have a better mood as a result. Let's see. Then also things like, monitor your weight and body composition. Obviously, the more you weigh, the more stress you're carrying around, the better chance it is of you being a moody, tired, fatigued partner. So you definitely want to be a guy that's fit, in shape, even if you're not like trying to be, muscle man of the year or Mr. Universe. At least get to a point of your weight where you are, if not slim, you're at least evenly built. Because the thing is that as much as it pains me to say this, guys, aside from women looking at you and making judgments about, oh, you're really big or whatever, the reality is that yes, your weight has an effect on how you view yourself, on your anxiety levels and your cortisol levels, and on your ability to interact positively with women, okay? And they can sense that. So the more in shape you get, I don't care if you weigh 300 pounds and you get down to 250, get down to 250. It's not all where you need to be, but it's far better than adding on pounds, because the more pounds you add on, the more moody you're going to be, the less healthy you're going to be, and the less of a prospect women are going to see you as. And then also pay attention to things like your digestive health, pay attention to your skin health, because these things also are important. Again, if you're eating certain foods that cause you to have dry skin or more wrinkly skin or to break out in, acne and stuff like that, then obviously that's going to affect how you look. It's going to affect how you carry yourself. It's going to affect your level of confidence going about in the world. And we want you to be at your most confident, okay? This is why to this day, I rarely drink sodas. I drink mostly water and water and water. And occasionally when I go out, I'll have a lemonade. I might have an iced tea here or there, but I guarantee this is water. Every time I'm on this show, I'm drinking water because it ain't got a taste and it's got flavors. Some people prefer like sparkling water or water with a little bit of flavor in it, like a lime or a lemon or a cucumber, whatever you got to do. But get off the sugary drinks and the caffeinated drinks, all those things, in addition to being bad for sleep purposes and whatnot, they greatly affect your skin and they greatly affect your gut health. Again, soda has been known to cause ulcers. Excessive sugar has been known to cause various ulcers and bumps in your body. You do not need this, and it is affecting your success at dating. And then also experiment with portion sizes, because it's not to say that you have to give up all this stuff. If you're drinking a liter of soda a day, maybe cut down to like a can a day. If you're eating, like for me, for example, I used to be able to make a batch of cookies, right? Like the oatmeal. I love the Quaker Oats oatmeal raisin cookies. They are my absolute favorite, full of sugar, full of flour. None of it's good, right? I used to make like batches of that. Again, look back to my 2020 videos. I'd make batches of cookies and I would like make 12 at a time, and I would eat like 36 cookies in a day. Like I'm kidding, because they're empty calories. They're easy to bite into. They're so good, blah, blah, blah. And then you're done, right? And then I realized, okay, I don't want to give up cookies. I love cookies. What can I do? So now I made it a general rule that when I make cookies, I don't eat 36 cookies at one sitting. I will make a batch of 12 cookies, and then I will eat those 12 cookies and not feel bad about it, and then be done until the next day when I'll make 12 more. If I'm dating somebody, I find a lot of the women that I've dated, they won't eat an excess of cookies. Like they'll eat like maybe 2 or 3 of my cookies. So when I'm dating somebody, even better. I'll make 12 cookies. I will eat 9 of them. They will eat 2 or 3 of them. And then I wait until the next day. Now, is that the most healthiest thing to eat a bunch of cookies? It is not, but it is far better than eating 3 batches of 12 cookies in one sitting. So working with portion control, you don't have to completely give up the things that you want to eat or that are unhealthy. It's a consideration, but in lieu of that, you can also lessen. If you're used to eating a whole bowl of pasta, maybe cut that down to like half a bowl and then add a salad. If you're used to going to buffets and eating like 4 or 5 plates, maybe just go there, fill your plate, the first plate with like meats and breads, and then the second one with like nothing but vegetables and salad, okay? So as you practice portion control, then you'll start to realize you don't have to completely give up your entire things that you love to eat to be able to still eat a lot healthier. But again, even lessening the portions will greatly impact your mood, because you'll go from being maybe like hyperly moody to like maybe just slightly moody because of eating a little bit of sugar versus a lot of sugar, okay? So all this to say, guys, the overarching message is this, is that whether or not you are aware of it or not, up to this point, your diet has been playing a huge role in how you've been presenting yourself out there in the dating world. Whether you've been nervous to approach girls, yes, there's always gonna be some nervousness about approaching women because of the unknown of what's gonna happen, but also could some of that anxiety be brought on by your diet? Yes, inevitably couples are gonna have arguments here and there, but could you be having more arguments and getting into more fights with your woman because, unbeknownst to you, your diet is making you want to be more combative? Yes, there's going to be times when you want to be away from your partner to get back to yourself. But also, could it be that your diet is causing you to want to push people away and you're not aware of it? You have to become aware that the things you are eating in your diet have a great impact on your mood, how you feel about yourself, how you appear to the world. And as you improve your diet, you're going to start to notice, hopefully, that your mood's going to improve, your ability to be around people is going to improve, and your ability to relate to people and understand them better is also going to improve, because a lot of these bad foods cause you to make very bad decisions. Even like there are guys that listen to my program, for example, and they'll know like, okay, what Harry's talking about, I've tried it before and it works, but then what can happen? You eat the wrong thing, you get anxious again, and now you're making the wrong decisions that you were making before. And so understand the impact that this has on your dating life, okay? You're gonna make better decisions, you're gonna feel better, you're gonna be a more jovial guy, and as a result of that, more women are gonna wanna be around you because your diet's improved and it got better. So hopefully this little lesson about food and things have helped you immensely, and that's all I gotta say about that. So that's all I have in terms of that particular topic. If you guys have anything else that you want me to talk about during the course of the show, then I would say now is the time to ask it, and I will happily answer it. You don't have to leave a super chat today, but I will happily answer that. All right. So hopefully that helps you out. I used to not be aware of just how much food actually impacted because as a kid, your parents feeding you, you're not thinking about it. You're not thinking about, oh, if I eat these chips today, because as a kid, you're not trying to get women. You're trying to just go out there on the playground and play and do whatever. And so you get cookies and juices and chips and cakes and all this other stuff. And we habitually learn to eat that stuff without consequence. And that's the downfall of us, because unfortunately that means that as we get older and start to like women, we've now established all these bad habits as it pertains to eating that we have not been made aware are going to affect us in terms of getting women, because we didn't know that. Our parents probably didn't know that, but I just started to observe that. And I was like, you know what? If this helps out any guys in the course of their dating thing, then I will definitely be able to give that message to them and have them understand it and help them out. So hopefully that's what's been able to happen today, because I want to make sure you guys have all the knowledge you possibly need about how to properly go about in the dating world. And that starts with also knowing what things to eat, and importantly, what things to do during the course of the relationship. Because here's the thing, it is very, very easy when you're dating somebody to fall off the wagon with food. Because think about this, right? Most first dates, you're going to do dinner. And then when you want to take her out on more dates, even if you take her to like a golf range or a Top Golf or whatever, it's going to involve food at some point. She's going to either order food at the bar. Think about this. Think about how many things are set up for you to fail as it pertains to food and relationships, right? You go out on a date, you go to Top Golf, right? Top Golf, I'm a fan of Top Golf, but they have a menu there. They got chicken, they got fries, they got burgers, they got onion rings, they got alcohol and beers and stuff like that. And they might have a small section where, you can get a salad, which even with salads, you got to be aware There's dressings on there. There's cheeses on there. There's croutons on there. There are things in these salads that can make the salad more unhealthy than you were to make it at home, right? So you go on a date, try to get some food, try to get some drinks, all unhealthy stuff. Leaves you, I've left many a date, tired, exhausted, moody, because of something that I ordered that was at the bar, whether it was a drink, whether it was a snacky, whether it was a fried food of some kind. Like, there are very few food places out there that are set up for you to feel good afterwards, because most of them are going to be too high in salt or too high in sugar or too high in some kind of trans fat or whatever, right? Like, these foods are not designed to be healthy. They're designed to taste really, really good and make you addicted so you'll keep coming back. Think about the fact that fast food restaurants, right? I love Chick-fil-A. Anytime I eat a Chick-fil-A sandwich, I eventually start to feel a little bit tired because it's got a lot of sodium in it. And then you got sodium in the chicken, you got sodium in the bread, you got fries, also got salt on them. And so just, we don't get trained to think about these things because, again, we've been eating this crap since we were like 2 years old when we could start chewing, and our parents didn't know better. Our parents are just, again, trying to shut the kids up, give them a snack they think they'd like. And so, I cringe now as a 42-year-old guy. I cringe when I see parents giving their kids like fries or giving their kids like another sweet. Cause I just think, oh my God, this is how it starts. Like, as a kid, I can't see it. As an adult, I'm like, oh, this is how it starts. It starts with, they think this stuff's totally fine because their parents they're doing their best, but it's like, this is how it starts. So by the time you get to your teenage years, you're all about junk food. You're all about pizzas and hamburgers and stuff like that. And then that just carries on because it becomes a habit and it builds up through the course of your life. So it's no wonder that we would not be aware, unless we're paying attention, that these foods actually have an effect. Because if you've been eating this stuff your whole life, how would you know that these foods are the things that are causing a lot of these problems in your relationship? Now, that's not to say there aren't other things to learn. Like I said, you learning how to talk to women, how to treat them better, the things they go through, those things are immensely helpful and they should be studied, which is why I have a whole program at my website called Introvert Dating Success Academy, which I'll go into at the end of this live. But suffice to say, guys, like, yeah, so it's no wonder we're not aware about it, but that's no excuse. And so you as a guy need to be aware. Even if you weren't aware before, you're aware now that this has an impact. So this can affect you now when you go on dates. Maybe you'll say, hey, let's go to like Simply Salad instead of let's go to like Barbecue Junkware's like bar hop house, And like I said, women are typically willing to follow your lead. I've dated a few women at times that were looking to lose some weight, and I found that they changed their diet once I changed my diet. And I found that me changing my diet made me feel better. It made me be more energetic. It made me want to be around my partner more. It made me want to have more interactions with them. Another thing that is truthful is that eating the wrong foods can have a great impact on your sexual health. So for you guys that are like, I struggle with, being able to be aroused, or I have erectile dysfunction, or I'm not in the mood as much as I'd like to be, that could be because of some of the things that you're eating that you're not aware are causing you to have low libido. And then the foods that make you feel like more anxious or less positive about yourself or make you start to look a certain way, that also now affects your sexual health, because if you don't feel like you look good, you may not feel like it's worth you even trying to get some in the first place. And that can leave you like Han Solo, if you get my drift. So suffice to say, yeah, food health has a huge, huge impact on your dating life, and it should not be ignored. That's all I'm saying about that. So anyway, guys, I think that's all I have for today. So thank you guys for showing up to this live and sticking with me so far. If you found this to be helpful to you, consider leaving a super chat. Consider, getting to the Cash App at $ here at Wilmington. If nothing else, give this video a like and give me a subscribe. I would be happy to hear anything you guys want me to talk about as it relates to future videos. So you can leave comments in the chat during the course of the week, and I'll get to those on the next live, which I do every Tuesday. I'm going to be doing lives at 3 o'clock from now on, because it's before dinner time and it's still light outside, because in 2 months it's going to be dark outside around 5 o'clock, and I like doing kind of daytime-ish shows. So that's all I got for the main live. So to end this, like I said, I have a great program at my website called the Introvert Dating Success Academy program. And so I want to give you guys a bit more insights about all that entails. And so I've made a short little video that talks all about that, and then we'll go to the out. So thank you guys for watching today's show. And now let's get on to talking about this particular thing. Many, many years that I've been teaching this stuff and dating myself and doing trial and error, I've created a wide variety of programs and ebooks that over the years have been able to help thousands of men to become their better dating selves and to attract the women that they want. Well, I have now put all of these various ebooks, audiobooks, programs, and video courses into one full membership package. And I call that package the Introvert Dating Success Academy Community. This is the community whereby you will have access to all of the various programs and ebooks and things I've created over the years to immensely help you with your dating knowledge, with your knowledge about women, and what it truly takes to be a more confident man in the realm of relationships, as well as in your life in general. So what I want to do is I want to briefly walk you through the various things that come with this membership. And then if you decide that based on what you're seeing, it's for you, we would love to have you be a part of the community. I've been creating programs and ebooks for years. Some of these things I have charged hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for. The nice thing is with this membership, you're only going to be paying $47 a month. And I say this up front to you because I want to get pricing out of your head, but I want you to see the amount of value that you're going to actually get with that $47 a month. And the nice thing is you can cancel at any time. So if you find on your journey that we've done enough to help you, you can get out. But here's what is all available in this community. First off, we start off with the top secret dating blueprint. This is my long-standing, tried and true formula for how to meet, greet, attract, land, date, and keep the women of your dreams, and how to get into a relationship within the span of 3 months with the women that you desire. On average, it takes women 2 to 3 months to solidify their feelings and come to the conclusion that they want to have you, but only if you're doing everything right. And so in this program, we talk about things like the mind shift changes you need to have. We talk about how to actually approach women and the proper sequence for getting their phone numbers. We go into how to ask for that first date, what to do on those first dates, how to analyze those dates so you know what you did right, where you can improve yourself, and where she probably is on her part of the attraction process. We go into how to do second dates, how to do first kisses. We go into what things to be repeating during the course of these 3 months to make sure that you're properly building attraction, as well as what things to steer away from so that way you're not messing up and causing her to lose interest. We go into how to deal with conflicts when they arise, because women are going to inevitably bring conflict about. And you need to know how to be able to handle that in a way that is masculine leaning and that makes her respect you even more, all right? Then we go into signs that she's ready to become the girlfriend, which will help you figure out when it's time to have that conversation. And then we talk about what things to actually talk about in the what are we conversation that'll make sure that she knows what your boundaries are in terms of getting into a relationship, and to make sure that you get what you want out of the situation, all right? So again, this is a tried and true formula that I've used time and time again to be able to get into relationships with great women, as well as the people that I've coached. They've also used this same formula to be able to find long-term mates with people that they're very happy with, all right? So this is a video course. This is just one of the video courses, but it's a huge one. So that way, when you learn how to text properly and you're able to get that date, you'll know what moves to be making next to make sure that this goes from being a texting buddy to a long-term prospect for a relationship. But even with that, that's the first one. We also have a video course that's all about smart digital dating, i.e. how to attract women online and in the dating space with your phone, right? And so this is the one that I also found to be very successful, because I was very much a proponent of online dating, and I was able to get a lot of dates and have a lot of fantastic situations happen with women that I met online that 97% of guys aren't able to experience, and that could be you. And in this one, we break down everything. We talk about the various dating platforms that are out there. We talk about what kinds of pictures you need to take, what the wrong ones are, what the right ones are. We talk about how to write the absolute best perfect bio that not only makes women more interested, but has them reaching out to you. Because as I always say, if she's chasing you, she can't be replacing you. We go into what kind of messages to send to women back and forth that are gonna get them more interested in wanting to have an in-person meetup. We talk about what the woman's experience is on dating apps and how it is you can make yourself stand out from the majority of bozos that she's coming across in the process of her trying to do online dating. And then we go into what kinds of things you need to be doing and saying to get her to agree to a date. I rarely got no's when I was doing online dating because of following the sequences that you'll be learning about in this part of the program. And then in addition to that, I show you plenty of examples of ways that I messaged women and how they responded. I talk about how to set up online profiles versus dating app profiles. I talk about the various dating app mistakes to avoid. So when you come out of this one, you'll be able to actually get the dates, and then you can go back and watch the Top Secret Dating Blueprint for once you've gotten the woman, what you now need to do to get her into a relationship. And so that's why this one's been very, very effective and helpful. I actually have a few people that I've helped out that they went through the digital dating program and ended up finding somebody on a dating app to date and then eventually marry. One of them just had a kid like 3 weeks ago. So again, this is stuff these are all separate programs that I had out that I was charging hundreds of dollars for, $47 a month for access. And that's just for these two programs. Then we get into things like, we have an audio program here called Stop Miscommunicating with Women. It is a 7-part series that is all about learning how to understand the way in which women communicate, because how they communicate with each other is drastically different from how we communicate with each other, guys. And so with this program, you're gonna get a better understanding of why they say certain things the way they do. You'll understand why they say the word we a lot. You'll understand how to better get yourself acquainted with her love language. You'll learn about important things like, why is it that women feel the need to test you? As men, we find it annoying, but lo and behold, turns out that women actually need to test you, and we go into why. We talk about things like why her statements are phrased as questions, and it's good for you to know that, so you'll know on the up and up what they're trying to communicate to you when they're asking certain things versus just outright saying it, and you'll know how to speak in their language so that way they feel like you're understanding them and coming to them from a place where they know what you're talking about, and then they will want to relate to you as a result. So again, another great audio program that you get as part of the full membership package. Then we go into what I call interviews with dating experts. This is over like 30 or 35 people that I've interviewed over the years that are dating experts or people that were just really great with women, or in some cases, women that are trying to give insights into their thought process on things. But it's over 30 to 35 people that I've interviewed, and these interviews range from like a half hour to an hour and a half long, that are about a variety of subjects as it pertains to relationships and dating. So, for example, we have Jeffrey Satia on how to create emotional safety in a relationship. We talk with none other than Marnie the Wing Girl, who is very, very popular on YouTube, on how to approach women, what women are looking at when guys are trying to approach them, how they determine the guys that are approaching them, which ones they choose to want to continue to interact with versus the ones that are just kind of like, I'm good. We talk with people like Mike Nakapinlak, who talks about the 4 alpha traits that men need in order to really put themselves out there in a way that women are going to respond to, and just audio after audio after audio of people giving great advice, insights on matchmaking, insights on how to better style yourself, insights on spirituality and sexuality in a relationship. Like, you get tons and tons and tons of just great information from a variety of people who over the years I've been privileged to be able to interview. Because even though I very much am a dating expert myself, I am always still looking for other dating experts to interview to get different perspectives. And so this alone is worth the price of entry, because these are people that don't normally give access to people trying to talk to them. And you're gonna get that special insight from these people as part of your membership. Then we go into some of my audiobooks and ebooks. So for those of you that have maybe gone through a breakup, or you're thinking, if I go through a breakup in the future, how do I handle that so I'm able to either get the woman back or move on? We have the ebook and audiobook, 10 Steps to Winning Back Your Ex, regardless of who did the breaking up. And in this book, we talk about how to win your ex back, either if you were the one that broke up with her, or she's the one that broke up with you. And it's literally like a 10-step guide on what you need to be doing from when she first breaks up to you to when you have that contact back with her, and everything in between and after. And it is a solid book. And again, this is based on things that I've actually done in the past to be able to go from a woman potentially breaking up with me or me breaking up with her to being able to meld that back together into something even stronger, all right? So again, you get that book and audiobook as part of your membership as well. And then we have No Girls For You, The Ultimate Guide to Losing the Girl of Your Dreams. This is the first book I ever wrote, and it is a hilarious look at why it is all the things you're trying to do right now to try to win women over is actually causing you to lose them. So things like being the nice guy, things like over-complimenting, things like getting your flowers, and a plethora of other things in this 13-chapter book. You're gonna get insight into what actually happens when you're doing these things, how are women interpreting them, why it gives them the ick, and hopefully it would help you once and for all avoid doing these things, so that way you will know going into dating, okay, Harry said don't do these things, and here's why, so I won't do these things anymore. And again, that ebook and audiobook comes as part of your membership. Now, interestingly, yes, the Texting Women Like a Boss ebook is also part of this membership. So if you've already gotten this book, again, you're gonna get a great deal out of the book, and that's fantastic. And it is part of the membership as well, but there's so much more other stuff that you're gonna get access to. So if you like the book, if you like the texting audio ebook, I can assure you the rest of the stuff in this program, you're gonna be like, I can't believe he's giving us all this stuff for such a low monthly price, right? So then on top of that, we have the Stop Losing Women podcast. So back in the day, I had a podcast called Stop Losing Women, where I would give each episode, I would give advice to men on the ins and outs of dating from different perspectives, right? And so this show ran for 435 episodes. It is no longer anywhere online because I took it down from podcasting spaces, but you get access to all those shows here. And these shows range from like interviewing people to answering people's questions to just me having random topics that I want to talk about and doing deep dives. A lot of these shows range from like 20 to 25 minutes, while other ones range from 45 to 50 to 60 minutes. But like I said, it's over 100 hours of rock solid information contained within this part alone. Just these podcasts alone, you're gonna get a lot of knowledge and mileage out of, okay? So again, you get that as part of your membership package. And then also, of course, I have my Introvert Dating Success podcast, which is currently running on podcasting platforms, but I have all the audios also here. So if you want to listen to them in succinct order, bit by bit, you will be able to get them here. I also add in extra episodes that aren't available anywhere else as part of this membership package, okay? And then in addition to all that, there's a section down here that says ask your questions here. So I typically answer people's questions on my live show, which I do every week, but also, if you're part of the membership program, you will get faster access to me, because if you ask a question here, I'll be able to answer it within the context of this membership, meaning you'll get answers from me a lot quicker than if you try to wait a week for me to do my show, all right? So you get all these great bonuses as part of the Introvert Dating Success Academy community, in addition to seeing me pop up in there every so often to do a special members live, whereby you can come to me right off the bat and ask any question and I'll answer it for you. All this stuff is absolutely great and is designed to help you further your dating life a lot faster. Because me, it took me like 10, maybe 15 years to really nail down the ins and outs of how dating is going to work. And if I can cut your time by a third or by half or by 95%, then I've done my job. So you owe it to yourself, if nothing else, to at least check out what this program has to offer. Again, it's only $47 a month. You can cancel it anytime. And I don't currently offer a money back guarantee because there's so much knowledge in here. There's so much stuff that you are bound to find something that's going to be helpful. And honestly, I think it's worth it. I think that it's worth you checking out this program. I think it'll be absolutely life-changing to you. Have a community. If you just click the page, scroll down to see what other things this program has to offer. And if it is right for you, go ahead and sign up today. Thank you so much for watching this, and I hope to see you inside soon. I'm out. Peace. You's a bad boy, but you can't stop, won't stop. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man. You a high class man. You a high class man. You a high earning, high value, high class man.